With how many games are constantly releasing, the lines between unique new entries and glorified repastes of previously used, now public assets is becoming increasingly blurred. With every indie I play, it becomes easier to recognize the repastes and avoid them. If I'm being honest, if a game seems too similar to other titles, I won't bother to cover it. While I adore supporting genuine indie devs, teams, and publishers, I'm firmly against asset flips, and we've seen too many terrible ones this year to last a lifetime. So, when something uniquely original comes to the market, I get a bit too excited. Now, you can't tell if something's unique without playing it, so while I've had the next game on our wishlist for quite some time, I wasn't able to offer any opinion as to whether it was something unique and fun, or just another farming sim in the vast sea of many. I'm happy to say it's not just a game we have on our wishlist anymore, and I want to thank 2P Games for changing that. Hi, my name's Lil, and this is my review of Immortal Life. Now, I have to say right off the bat that for me, this was easily my favorite life sim that I've played all year. Yes, you heard that right, and I'm going to tell you why. Out of every single life and farming sim that I've played in the last 11 months, only one has enticed me into uploading a full year of gameplay, or kept me genuinely interested after the first year was over. I'm that person that gets tired of most games by 20 to 40 hours in, depending on the genre, and farming sims especially wear me down since I've played so many of them. Having said that, Immortal Life acts as an equal parts management sim to its farming and life sim counterparts. You're not just running your own farm and collecting every flower you see during your travels. You're repairing the sect buildings, helping feed the villagers, researching items and unlocking trade routes to other towns, exploring the spirit realm to bring back rare supplies to heal a fallen friend, hosting feasts for your fellow cultivators and figuring out which dish they like most, or helping the local woodworker with his latest invention that may or may not have any return for helping him. And after all of that, you get to use the XP you've accumulated to face your inner demons and level up, defeat a mini-boss, it's you, and gain some useful stat boosts and abilities. At this point, you might have an understanding of just how much is available to do in the game. Touching on the characters, they all have unique personalities, interests, cultivation goals, motivations for their actions, and an overall depth that so many sims lack. I was so invested in each of them that I felt a personal desire to help them with whatever their next quest or mission was. And the management parts of the game kept my technical brain thrilled and planting my next round of crops to unlock new trades, decorative options, and town upgrades. Everything in this game feels purposeful, and even if you spend a full day chopping down trees in the forest, you'll need all those resources at a later time, so no action is for naught. The thing that I should point out is that I'm a full year in and still have many towns to unlock, 4 map regions I've never discovered, and half the sect to repair. The metric that shocked me the most is that I'd seen less than 20 of the 72 creatures in the game. I'd already experienced 2 dungeons, the mines on your property, and the spiritual realm you unlock during the first year. But with how many critters I have left to experience and beat up, it tells me that there's a lot left to discover. That's exciting for someone like me, as what keeps me interested is knowing that there is more to discover. If I open up a menu and see that I've explored most of the world and seen everything it has to offer, it's at that point that my interest starts to expire. I'm not your traditional gamer that wants to play a continuous content loop. Once I've experienced each part of a game and reached the end of its story, I'm ready to move on. Knowing that Immortal Life has 20 hours of my time and I've only played through half the game, stories, zones, creatures, and towns, not to mention the massive array of items I have left to discover, well, it keeps you trekking on. A few other features that I particularly adore about this one is that you don't have to sleep, ever. So as long as you have food and health charms, you can keep going. Sleeping does little more than boost your stats, but the more decorated your house is, the more perks you do gain by sleeping, so bear that in mind. This is a great point to transition into the house upgrading and decorating. It's the same system as most games: bring materials and pay to upgrade your home, and gain a bit more square footage for the 15 items your neighbor gave you that week. But the decorations in this game aren't just to look at. They have different perks, ranging from bonus health to increasing the amount of mana and stamina you regenerate each hour that you sleep. It's a clever way to make sure you put some extra thought into your interior decorating. Next, I want to talk about the farming aspects of the game. Immortal Life isn't your typical pick up your farming tools and get started. Right from the start, it's clear you aren't just an average human and have access to magic and charms that will help you in your everyday life. Use an enchanted water spout and some of your mana to water your plants in one fell swoop, equip your magic scythes that spin the way dravens do, and slaughter the plants like your enemies. But if they're the type to regrow, they'll be fine. You only gently slaughter them. Jokes aside, the magic aspects in this game make the farming so much less monotonous, and that's appreciated. I actually don't play farming sims for the farming part. And while you work on that comment you're about to send, I'll tell you it's because I care more about the story behind a world than the small aspects of it. If the game tells a good story, I don't mind if the farming is a bit boring or if the chores get repetitive, so long as I'm invested in the world and people in it. I'll keep moving forward. But I will also say that some life sims wear me down so much with monotony that I eventually get tired and move on, even if I'm not at the end. Immortal Life cleverly avoids the monotony of daily life and replaces it with magical tools that fit right into the nature of the story. Finally, touching on the story, you're a cultivator in the Guiyun sect in China, and before you ask what we're cultivating, it's immortality. However, as you show up to prove your skills and join the sect, the entire place is blown to smithereens by a mysterious asteroid. With the destruction came the loss of the other cultivators, and with only a few others that decided to stick around to help out by your side, your job is to rebuild the entire thing from the ground up. This of course completes the loop back to what we've talked about at the beginning, but I do still want to talk about a few aspects of the game. One really unique thing about Immortal Life is that when you're in the mines and spiritual realm, defeating monsters as one does, you're not forced to run up and attack something with a sword or horrendously aim your bow and hope the arrow makes contact before the monster moves. Instead, you have an auto attack that you can leave on endlessly and will take care of most of the minions in an attack or two. I mentioned earlier that you can level up your character and earn new abilities, as well as unlock them throughout the storyline. These abilities can be used in any areas with monsters and will cost mana, but are quite devastating and knock out multiple enemies at once. I have to say, I adored this system. The combat felt more like a roguelike with waves of enemies and a few bigger bosses from time to time, mixed with the coziness of a farming sim and all the aspects of a management sim baked in. It's truly a perfect blend and easily my favorite farming sim of all time. Bold words, I know. But the art style and music in Immortal Life is far more appealing to me than Pixel Sims, and I'm a sucker for Asian culture of many types. It's just gorgeous, and never have I enjoyed peacefully sitting off a dock and pressing E to repeatedly toss my line in and catch fish to this extent. The simplicity of the fishing, farming, upgrade system, management systems, all of it's just beautifully done. Now, I have to be critical, so I will find one thing to nitpick, but it's all you're going to get, so sorry, but not sorry. I will say that the UI could be polished up a bit, at least for the English language. Some of the text runs over itself, and some just takes a hike off the screen and disappears altogether for a while. These are simple complaints that require some polishing, but you're going to be glad to know that this game is still in early access. Yes, my favorite life sim isn't even in its 1.0 release, so how's that for shocking? Not to mention, it's only $17 and often goes on sale for 20 to 30% off, and for how much content this game offers, it's absolutely worth every penny. I will state that no, of course this game isn't for everyone, and while it's easily my favorite, it by no means has to be yours. But if you love this style of art, music, and blend of dungeon crawling, farming, life, and management sim, then you're in for a blast of a time. I stated above that it's not a full release title just yet, so we can't officially give it a rating. But now hopefully you have an idea of what Immortal Life has to offer, and you can make the decision of whether or not you should add it to your Steam library. We have to give a huge shout out to 2P Games for allowing us to try this one and give away a copy a few weeks back. It's been a pleasure working with their team, and for us smaller creators, it's always massive when we have great relations with game devs and publishers. Without your amazing games, we'd have to go play outside, and it's too cold in winter to do that, so thank you. That's it for this review, but you can expect more content from us in the future for Immortal Life, so make sure you leave the video a like and hit that subscribe button so you can get notified when that day comes. We also feature new games constantly, so there's always something to find. Until next time.